Okay, George Floyd message. I'd like to start off and then invite everybody to add or subtract, whatever they like. So 2 weeks ago, we all saw a man killed by police in Minneapolis. The awfulness of that has put renewed energy into our multi-racial national quest for fair treatment of all. The particular focus of attention is colorblind policing, with special relevance of use of force in governing policies. Since then, we've had one peaceful march in Rye for equal rights, and on Saturday, we anticipate another. These marches are, I believe, welcome. Tuesday's march was escorted cordially by the Rye PD. Last week, I issued a statement that set out 3 principles that I think remain the bedrock on which our city's response to Floyd's death rests. First, the city of Rye is committed to the principle of equal treatment under law. Second, the city of Rye Police Department is trained and undertakes every day to be respectful, restrained, and concerned for the safety of all involved in interactions with it, without regard to race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or other differentiating characteristic. Third, the men and women of the Rye Police Department understand that the residents of Rye expect nothing less of them. My statement also declared that there should be an ongoing process of diligence and self-examination on the part of the PD, police department that is, in the city. Let me emphasize that I propose this process without pointing any accusatory fingers at our police. Now in my 30th year as a Rye resident and in my 3rd year as mayor, I hold the Rye PD in high regard. This, however, is a moment to take stock just the same. I began this diligence last week in conversation with Commissioner Falk and Manager Usry by first asking for reports of the number of complaints of use of excessive force or racial bias by our police department in the last 10 years. I was heartened to learn that anecdotally, those complaints have been very few. The tabulation of those complaints is in process. I also ask that the police department check with police educational sources to make sure that we're including appropriate bias and sensitivity education in our continuing training program. That request, too, is in process. I asked for and received comfort that our acquisition of body cameras in our budget for this year remains funded and will be executed this year, despite our general concerns about the city's financial condition. Our officers want body cameras and they protect everyone. I believe we all do or should want them. Now, focusing on use of force policy, I ask the police department to review its use of force policies against current best practices drawn from multiple sources in the department's discretion. I ask the department for a brief report on this review, stating the sources consulted, the results, areas of concern, and proposed amendments to policy. I would then have a public council review on the report and ask the council to respond, including but not limited to adopting such proposed amendments to policies as the council agrees. Many people have suggested to me that I sign the mayor's pledge that the Obama Foundation has put forth. If we can do these things, I believe that is the basis for me to sign the Obama Foundation's mayor's pledge. I've read a bunch of the responses of individual jurisdictions to the Obama pledge, and what I'm proposing goes substantially beyond what many, if not most, of the cities are proposing to do. So I put that forward. Those are all things that I can ask the city manager to ask the police commissioner to do without council action. Essentially, those requests are already sitting on Greg's desk, and I invite comment and discussion of any and all of the of where we are after the awful George Floyd death. Who would care to jump in?
All right, I'll jump in. I think that statement was very nicely constructed, touched on all the points. As a community, we are proud of our police, and we want to make sure that as they stay the best, we let them know we will support them, but they also have to provide back to us as our job that if there are changes that need to be made, or if there are no changes they're going to make, to defend them. More importantly, to defend the whatever policies they have, because we are not police officers. I'm a code enforcement officer. It's not the same, trust me. And I think, Mayor, the way you phrased it gives everybody some comfort that we are doing everything we can to see that the city of Rye lives up to the stellar reputation it has. Thank you.
I should mention that I did read our use of force policy and accompanying general orders, and I was fairly impressed. I'm not saying that I did the review, because I didn't, but the one thing that I wish to note is that the latest iteration of those policies was 2 years ago. That is, the review date was 2 years. So we're not dealing with something from the look of it that is out of date to begin with. Nonetheless, I think we should take this as a moment for review and renewal.
Thank you.
Others?
I totally agree with what you said, and I share your concern. And I really look forward to the review process that we're going to conduct. I think it'll be, a very good process to assess how we've been behaving. And I look forward to it. And I look forward to discussing the results. Thank you.
I wish that we will keep an open mind, and as we go through the review process, if we think that there should be an additional step, say a public hearing, a community group of people reviewing whatever the outcome of the report is that the police is going to give us on their report, I think that we should keep an open mind and just know that we have an open process, that this wasn't just open and shut and this is what we're doing. And I think it's a great idea to have the review and to have the body cams that will protect everybody. And I think that there is a little bit of a soul searching going on for the whole community as a whole. Now, I'm not talking about police, but I'm talking about just a community as a whole, and we should just take a moment to reflect and respect that.
Others?
Yeah, I'll just add, I think everybody has pretty much said what I have been thinking, that I think I think a review is an excellent start. I am looking forward to hearing the results of the review. I would add that just from listening to what people are saying over the last few weeks and reading, it's clear that change is needed, and that complacency for the status quo does not work anymore. So I see this review as an excellent start, but I imagine and I hope it's not the end. I hope it's the start of some serious dialogue, serious soul searching, and the resolution of certain tasks going forward on how we can improve, because our community, our police force, we all can improve. And I'm so glad that this is the start of it.
My Wi-Fi went dead, so I didn't hear. Unfortunately, I'm going to listen to the tape, but if I could say that I think that there is the factual data relating to our police departments. I don't think our police department does anything other than excellent work. I've never seen anything that's made me question anything they've done in the 11 years I've lived here. What I do think, though, is we as human beings have to be rethinking what we accept as okay when it's not okay. And I think that's what we should be getting from Mr. Floyd's death. We have to respect him by saying, this was wrong, and we will do what we can as a community to fight to be better. All of us have to be better. It's personal, it's introspective. It's not just the police department. It's me, Pam Tarlow, and what I can do to be better. And I am very pleased that we have a Human Rights Commission that is asking questions and doing things that perhaps we should be using them in a very proactive way to help us deal with issues as they arise. I wish Danielle could be here as the chair to speak about what they've done. I did send on to you her comments, which are beautiful as usual. Her writing's wonderful. But I really do believe this is a very personal matter. And I would say that I would hope we will all stop and think and not make this about the police, but make it about ourselves. And that's my comment. And I hope that his memory is a blessing for his family.
Okay, so thank you. I'll proceed with the points that I made, and I'm not sure of the timing of things. Discuss that with Greg and come back with more information at a later date. So thanks, everyone. Moving on the agenda. Which is now buried. Moving on the agenda,